Oh my goodness. How y'all doing? I think we got people in the chat already. It is Friday Night Vyp. And I know I'm starting a few minutes early, but we are not going to be here very long tonight. This is my third live stream in about 20 hours. It's going to be real short, probably about an hour, if that. I got a special guest on deck, so I'm not wasting any more time. Let's get into the intro, and we shall begin. I usually do the roll call, but we're gonna skip the roll call tonight because, like I said, I got a guest waiting, and we're gonna get into it. So sit back, relax, strap in. We're gonna have some fun. So, current time 6:52 p.m. Central Standard Time, which means you are in the right place. You are on the right YouTube channel, baby. So, with that in mind, it is time for you to turn your volume down, because if you don't turn your volume down, I am not going to be held responsible for what your neighbors think of you. So turn your volume down, let me do what I do, and then let's get into it. Like I said, I don't have time to wait tonight, so I'm going right into it right now. Armed out, we in the building. It's Friday night, third live stream in 20 hours. Let's go to work. What's up, people? This your boy Viper, the man about it, and we are live. Welcome to Friday Night Vyp, baby. Woo! Oh yes, it is that day again. We are back. We are live on YouTube. And like I said, we got to skip the roll call tonight. I got a special guest on deck. Tonight, we are talking about iPhone 11 versus iPhone 11 Pro. And who better to bring in than the world's greatest Apple tech journalist, my personal friend and homie, Rene Ritchie is in the building. What's up, Rene? How you doing, man?
Oh, man, great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me, Rene. Now, Rene, you are in an interesting spot to me because you were at the event. You got hands-on with the iPhone. So what are your initial impressions after having your hands on, man?
Good. I mean, I went right to the iPhone 11 Pro table because, if you wait too long, all like the journalists, the broadcasters, the YouTubers, they all get there and you got to like fight your way through to just get to the table. So I made a beeline for it. I used Jim Dalrymple as sort of a human shield to fight his way because he's got those Canadian hockey checks and people are flying left and right. The beard is like a cattle prod, getting them all out of the way. Went right in behind him, right to the table, right to the new green version, the midnight green version. And the first impression was just that new coating. It just feels different. It's not as slick. It's not as slippery. It doesn't look like glass anymore. It looks a little bit more like the older metal styles they had. Mm-hmm. And it just, I didn't think I'd like the color. And it's still, maybe still not my favorite, but it looks way better than I imagined it. It looked way better than it does in a lot of the photos. And I guess that's always depending on the lights.
That is interesting that you say that, because when I'm looking at these colors from afar, obviously I don't have the close-up that you do, but when I'm looking at them from afar in pictures and video, they don't really look all that shiny and vibrant. But
yeah, like after Aurora, right? Like when you're looking at like the opposite of that.
All right, so iPhone 11 versus iPhone 11 Pro. Obviously, we know with the iPhone 11, Rene, you don't get the fast charger in the box. You still get the antiquated 5-watt fart knocker brick, which is crazy to me. You get the dual camera system with the 11 Pro. It's still rocking an LCD screen, which we debunked last year. It's still pretty good, even for its standards. So what did you think of the iPhone 11?
So in many, many ways, I don't want to say it's too good, but I'm surprised that Apple put so much into it, because it really is supposed to be they call it the iPhone 11. This is supposed to be the new normal, the iPhone for everybody. But last year it was like the 10R, the budget iPhone. But it's got the same processor in it. The cameras are identical. It doesn't have the telephoto. It's got the wide angle and the ultra wide angle, which I think is a smart choice. The 10S and the 10 had the telephoto and the wide angle, but you can like zoom in like in those movies, zoom in, crop, enhance. Like you can do that digitally, but you can't zoom out. There's just no data. So by putting the ultra wide and the wide, you get that. Plus you get like fake telephoto. you're still getting everything you need. So I think that was a really, really smart choice. But it's all there. Like you've got to really be a display nerd who really wants OLED. You've got to really be a camera nerd who really wants that third camera and the double portrait mode that it gives you. You got to really be like a radio nerd to want 4x4 MIMO LTE, and there's like very few things that you have to be ultra nerdy to really want, I think, to step up to the Pro this year.
Now let's talk about the cameras and Apple's choices with the camera. Now, me personally, I am very happy, even though I'm not getting the iPhone 11, I am very happy that they decided to go with a ultra wide angle lens as the second lens instead of a telephoto. To me, Rene, I feel like there are more practical use cases for me for an ultra wide angle secondary lens than a telephoto secondary lens. How do you feel about the choices they made with that?
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Because again, like you can shoot with the wide angle and you can crop in if you want to, but you can't shoot with the wide angle and suddenly invent all the data. Like even Adobe Magic Fill can't like just give you the rest of the scenery or that other person that you got cut out. So I think it's really smart. And also, like if you're in your room, you want to take a picture. If you're outside, you want to get all the scenery, and it gives you so much more, like you said, so many more artistic options as a photographer.
Yeah, I like you said, I feel like if I need a telephoto type shot, I can just walk into the subject or get closer to the subject. But it's extremely difficult, Rene, to back out and do it that way, especially if you're like
especially in a room.
Right. In a crowded environment, you can't back out. So having an ultra wide angle lens to back out like that with via software and things is much more handy to me than having a telephoto lens on deck. No doubt.
Yeah, someone in the room said that too. They're like, yeah, I can't back up because MKBHD and his giant camera behind me. But I sure can walk in.
and you damn sure don't want to bump that red cinema camera, man.
No, it fights back. My understanding is it fights back.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Camera costs more than some people's whole yearly salaries, man.
Yeah.
So Apple made an interesting choice with the finish on the 11. Now, they kind of flip-flop between 11 and 11 Pro. So the iPhone 11, Rene, has the regular like glossy glass finish. But the camera module has the frosted matte finish that the whole body of the Pro has. So what is Apple thinking with that whole flip-flopping of the finishes?
Yeah, that was a really interesting, really weird choice. So they're milling down the glass. It's sort of milled down from a full piece of glass, and then they matte the finish of the iPhone 10 Pro, but leave the camera glossy. And on the 11, the iPhone 11 Pro, and then the 11, like you said, they leave the body glossy, but they matte down the camera. So they're actually, it's like yin and yang. They're exact opposites. And I think they do that to make the camera stand out. And like, if you have a face hugger, like the Aliens movie, a face hugger camera module in the back, you got to own it. There's no way of like hiding that thing. You can't like, put some shrubs around it. The neighbors will never notice. There's like absolutely no way to do that. So I think that's part of their process. Like, we know we have this giant honking thing on the back. We're just going to own it. Can we make it shiny for you?
Yeah, like I say, it's a weird design choice to put it one way on one phone and the other way on the other phone. But like you said, if you're gonna do that, you got to own it because there's no way to hide those bug-eyed camera lenses, man. Those things are massive, Rene. Those are massive.
It's like the surprise emoji, and then like
right. Some people threw up Pikachu memes on Twitter.
Yeah. I blame Drew for that.
Right, probably. Yeah, right. Yeah. But it's weird. So. The other thing going on with the iPhone 11, obviously, the storage configurations. I think it's 64, 128, and 256, if I remember correctly, right?
Yep. And then the Pro goes to 64, 256, 512.
Right. So there's another thing that just kind of like it kind of confuses me, Rene, because you have a 128 gigabyte option with the 11, but not with the Pro.
Yes.
Which is like, what are you doing?
And I think arguably the Pro, like it's Pro, so I would have not been stunned if it was like, oh, we'll do, I don't know, 128, 250, 128, 512, 1 terabyte or something. It's the options are. I think 128 is more consumer friendly, but I think somebody with a Pro is probably going to want more because you can do 60 frames per second, 4K interleaved with extended dynamic range from all three cameras and the front camera, and they're doing that simultaneously. So just throw storage at me at that point, please.
Seriously, it's like our good friend Flossie Carter says. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
And the price is too goddamn high.
Right. So speaking of the price being too goddamn high, Rene, how does it feel in the hand?
They all feel great. Like I personally felt that the previous generations were too slippery and still the iPhone 11. I've never dropped one, but like you put it on the sofa and it was like the Nexus 4 days where you could put it in the middle of a table and by the end of dinner it'll find its way towards the edge of the table. Right. Just so slick. And so I'm hoping that the matte one, I want to give it this. They didn't have any sofas, unfortunately, at the hands-on area. And they had like these mats that they put them on, but I want to give it that old sofa cushion test.
So Rene, when the ladies feel the iPhone 11, Should they know the procedures? Should they know?
It's the same. It's the same body as it's been for like, it's like the iPhone 6, 6S, 7, and 8 were all the same body chassis.
Right.
These are all the same. It's a repeat.
Right. Yeah, it's the same form factor except for the camera module in the back. Right.
Yeah, we're the iPhone 7 era again.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. So let's talk about the iPhone 11 Pros. So obviously, those are coming with a triple camera lens system. They have the telephoto lens and the ultra wide angle lens. And they also have the different finish. They have the frosted glass matte finish on the back, and the camera housing is glossy on the Pro, which
yes,
I don't know if I understand that.
And the colors are different. Like the whole color thing threw me this year because I've wanted a purple phone since forever, and there's some really nice purple phones out there, but Apple went for like this lavender color. Excuse me. And I was saying that it wasn't like Miami Vice. It was like the Archer series when they went to Miami Vice. It's like lavender purple and mint green, and they're not my favorites. I like the red still. The red is still hot. The black and white are still classics, but I would have liked like a real punchy, like Samuel Jackson lightsaber purple, and like a really like deep foresty green.
Now, here's the thing, Rene. Like the gold iPhone 11 Pro Max or Pro, it's not really gold. To me, it almost looks like kind of like a extremely light colored tan thing. Like when we saw the renders early on before we got the official keynote, there was like almost legitimate, authentic copper tone render out there, and I was really digging that. But the actual gold that we're getting with these iPhones is just the same as last year. It looks like some type of coffee creamer, man. It doesn't even not gold. It's like cream, man.
They keep playing with it. Like the original one, the 5S was like a champagne color, and then they ended up doing rose gold with the 6S, and then they got rid of rose gold, but they made blush gold. And then they tweaked the blush gold and made copper gold. And I don't know what they're calling it this year, but every year, just like space gray is never the same, the gold is like really never the same year to year.
Oh my God. Why can we not have a black iPhone? Why do they always have to go space gray, Rene? I want a black iPhone. Why is that so hard?
They tried that with the iPhone 5, and they tried it again with the iPhone 7. So gold is the easiest color to laminate. You basically just dip it in a chemical bath and you're done. And it's super resilient. It's super good. Black, and I forget, there's one of the colors, either blue or green, are really hard. You got to do like layers of that stuff. Like I think military spec is like 3 or 4 layers of the stuff, but that makes it really gloopy and covers up all the details. So Apple has been trying for like the last 5 years to get an anodization that is both dark and thin, and they have just not been successful at finding that balance. So they keep going back and forth trying to make this is nice and dark, but it scratches and chips too easily. This is nice and resilient, but it's not dark enough. And they just keep tweaking it, but they haven't nailed it yet.
Speaking of haven't nailed it, Rene, we were rumored to have reverse wireless charging, which was apparently scrapped. But then there was a report that came out earlier today, I should say that the hardware is in place on these new phones, but it got disabled. What's going on with that?
Yeah, I don't know. So I was asking around, and some people are like, reverse wireless charging? I don't know where the internet gets this stuff. And like, you never know who to believe because credible people will tell you both stories.
Right.
And there's also some people going, well, I think we'll find out when iFixit tears it down. But they've torn down Samsung reverse charging phones, and the coils don't look that different. Like maybe someone who's really good at electronics would say, oh, you need this coil this way to do that. But I think like for an average person, like those coils are just there. So I don't know if we'll see anything different. I don't know if you could enable it regardless of it being there. I'm going to wait and see with this because there's just too many conflicting rumors for me right now.
So we had a joke made by Brandon from Business Tech today that the only thing that Apple could charge is your credit card because of the issue with because of the issue with AirPower, and now the rumored reverse wireless charging being scrapped. So it just seems
all you got to do is buy yourself a Galaxy S10 or Galaxy Note 10, put it on your table, turn on reverse charging, and there you've got your AirPower. Get like 3 of those, put them side by side, turn them all on, and then just stick your iPhone and stuff on them, and you're fine.
That's savage. That's savage, Rene. That's true, but it's savage. So I'll ask you
the Bay Area AirPower, right?
Right. So let's go back to the iPhone 11 for a minute because the one other shock that I almost missed, Rene, is the price. They dropped the price by $50.
Yeah,
that kind of shocked me, Rene. How do we get here, Rene? Like, because usually Apple's not known for dropping the prices, you know.
I mean, so they do. So there's a couple different Apples at play. Like, there's one Apple on the higher end, and what they'll do is they'll sort of mess with the upper elasticity of the pricing by adding features and seeing how much we think those features are worth. So like the iPhone 7 Plus got an extra camera, but was raised $20. And we're like, yeah, sure, we'll buy that. And then they kept like, we don't think they'll pay. They will pay this. And then it got to a certain point where they're like, but will they pay $1,000? Okay, maybe 1,000 was pushing it. Let's try mixing it up a bit. And I think they've managed. What happens with all the iPhones is when they first come out, they're super expensive because of all the stuff that's gone into making them. And Apple tries to charge enough to pay off that investment. But then after, like the iPhone 8 now, rumor has it, it's like paid off. The whole thing is paid off. And it's so cheap for them to make now that they'll make that the new iPhone SE. And the iPhone XR components are cheap enough now that Apple... A lot of people think Tim Cook is like just wants to grab as much money as possible, but margins are way down from the Steve Jobs years, especially in hardware. They're being artificially inflated right now by services revenue, which is like almost pure margin, as you know, any services company will tell you. They make just tons of money off their investments. So the margins are way down. So Apple's trying to maintain those, but as they pay off the technology, they can lower those prices. So on the top end, they keep trying to push them up. But then you see like that iPad, you know, that everyday iPad is like $329. And the Apple Watch 3 is now $199. And the iPhone XR replacement's $50 cheaper. So I think their strategy is they want to make like the Lamborghini iPhone on top every year, but they still want to give everybody that like Toyota or Honda underneath it that you know you feel real good about, but is also a real good value.
Yeah, I like when he came out and said $699, I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool, especially for an iPhone that's a successor to the iPhone XR, which is pretty much better in every way than the XR, and coming in at a cheaper starting price. That's a win. That is definitely a win.
More XR for less.
Yeah, more $10 for less. Absolutely. So, in addition to the pricing of the 11 Pro pricing stays the same from last year, which is awesome as well. Apple did not raise the price. I thought for sure they would raise the price, but they are staying pat, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think psychologically, once you break that $999, like it's real hard because there are some people who just want the best phone every year. You know, like, it was explained to me once, how do you have $25,000 plane tickets? You know, and they're just like, there's some people that $25,000 is the same as $25. It doesn't matter. You know, they'll buy a 20,000 dress. Just like it's a whole different market. But I think, and there's some people who'll just go get me whatever the best iPhone is this year. They don't even think about it. But for a lot of people who are just interested in it and want the best, but it does crunch into their budget more, I think breaking that $1,000 is really hard. And that's why they're hitting that trade-in and those installment payments so hard as well, and that annual update program.
Yep, definitely. So, what am I about to say? So with the 11 Pro, Apple is doing a lot with computational photography this year. It seems like, well, they've always been doing it, but it seems like they're doing more this year. Now, I remember you did a video a few months ago about how Apple does all their all their photography things in real time, as opposed to Google, which does most of this magic post-processing. But in my opinion, I don't know if you feel the same way, but in my opinion, the iPhone camera has been lagging behind the Android competition for like at least the last 3 or 4 years. So I'm hoping that with this new computational photography that Apple is working in there, that they are finally starting to play catch up with their Android counterparts.
Yeah, so I have mixed feelings about this. On one hand, like they get beat on specs a lot and fast. You know, like Huawei or another Chinese manufacturer, or even Samsung will throw in a third camera way before Apple will. Right. The night mode thing. I mean, Apple did portrait mode. I know other people did portrait mode first, but like Google took a year to do portrait mode, and nobody really complained about that. So I feel like, you know, if you do it within a year, you're fine. You know, someone's going to do it and there's probably someone who did it before. Someone's writing into us right now. The Nokia 1830 had the portrait mode and the night mode back in 1776. You ignorant Apple and Android fanboy. Like, I'm sure somebody is writing that. So I will grant you that Nokia probably did everything first at some point. But I feel like if you're within a year, you know, you're pretty fine. The thing I've liked about Apple's photography for a while is they don't always throw tons of specs at it, but they're super consistent. Like their color management, their color science, their color, everything has always been industry leading. Like all 3 cameras on this shoot the same. And if you watch like any Mr. Mobile or MKBHD or any video, they're like, why can't the ultralight camera have the same color as the other camera? Why can't it have like the same this as the other? And it's like, yeah, that's what you really want. And then I was at CES with, I work with Android Central, and we have like Daniel Bader there and Andrew Martinick and all those people. And they have their Pixel phones, and they're taking it, and the camera app won't launch, like because Google's not jettisoning the memory to launch the camera app. They're like, damn it, I'm missing this photo. And then Bader's like, oh, I'm dropping frames, and they're throwing them away and picking up their Huawei phones. And like that's the part you don't hear after the video review comes out. It's like, yeah, the camera makes nice photos, But you didn't get that photo, and now your kid suddenly is going like this when you're trying to take a video of them. So Apple definitely had a lot to catch up, but I think they because they make their own chips, they make their own silicon, they make their own storage controllers. Them adding features is a real advantage to them because it's much harder for everyone else to add that custom silicon and to add those custom controllers.
Dally, I'm gonna get on that in 1 minute. Shout out to my man Eva A for the coffee. Thank you very much, sir. Definitely appreciate it. You guys, the channel is not monetized yet, but if you want to donate, there is a buy me a coffee link in the description. Check it out. It's not required, but any support is greatly appreciated.
Man deserves it. Give him some coffee.
I appreciate it. So let's talk about the way Apple does their hardware and software, Rene, because these new iPhones have night mode. But the cool thing about the iPhone's night mode is, Rene, is that it's automatic. Usually when you do it with the Pixel or the Samsung, you have to go to the night mode in the camera app and then do it. With Apple night mode, it is built into the native camera lens, and it's automatic. That's amazing, Rene.
Yeah, so what basically happens is when it's normal, like if you're familiar with how the flash works, this works the same way. So basically between no flash and flash, because if you're like in a complete dark room and you don't want to do a long exposure, the flash is still there. So in between those, as it gets darker, you'll see like the little icon for night mode pop up. And when it's dark enough, that'll turn yellow. And it'll go yellow 1 first, and then 2, and then 3. And I don't know if it goes longer than 3 because we didn't see that, but it might. And that just means how long it's going to hold that exposure for. So, and it switches a live preview as well. Like the preview turns into what you're going to get. So you can see it. And I always prefer that. And I know like Google and Huawei, they're great with their post-processing, but I'm used to photographing. And even with portrait mode, like if I'm trying to portrait mode you and like your sunglasses are blurred or your ears blurred, I want to see that right away so I can move a little bit. Not like take the photo, wait 3 seconds. Oh, his sunglasses. Take the photo. Oh, his ear. Go like that's like my life. I need that back. So seeing it in the preview, this would be like, oh, I like this. It's night mode, but she's a little yellow. I'm going to move over here because this light is a little bluer, and then I'll get a nicer. I know that before I press. I see what I'm going to get before I hit that button, and then you hit it, and it takes a second or two to save, like portrait mode did back in the iPhone 7 Plus days. Because it's just like their first iteration of it. I assume it'll get faster, but it is pretty fast. Like you take the picture. And we had to fake it because the hands-on room was so bright. We were like putting our hands in front of the camera, trying to make it darker. So it might not be accurate, but you take the picture and it'd be like 1, 2 pictures done, and then you see it. And it looked good. Like if I had to describe it to people, it had good color like Google. Because I've always found like Samsung and Huawei, I think, are a little cool. And it had really good detail because sometimes you'll look at like Huawei pictures and it's just some random pattern. It's not the pattern you expect. It's just some random pattern they came up with. So it sort of, and it had like really good detail like Samsung often manages to preserve. So it had like a lot of choice. Like, all of this is choices, by the way, because like the more somebody moves, the harder it is to get a long exposure, and you've got to keep calculating that. And Apple is trying to like detect humans to give them priority and sort of make a lot of smart choices about what it's going to render out. And I think they did that, and they did it like with a little bit of Apple artistic flair. Because photography is still an art.
Absolutely. Someone leaked a early picture taken with the iPhone 11 on Twitter of the night mode in action, and oh my god, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's legit.
It's definitely legit, no doubt. So Rene,
well, I should say those cameras are also someone else, Halide, the camera app company. They got I guess someone used it on the phone, and they're like, "Holy crap, it's pulling in 30% more ISO."
Yeah.
So
I saw that tweet.
It's a combination of both. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So what am I saying? So Apple demonstrated or not demonstrated, but they talked about on stage at the keynote Deep Fusion. Yeah. Now, Rene, I'm kind of confused because is Deep Fusion something that's going to be available next week, or is it going to be available later down the road? I'm not sure. I know.
Yeah, they haven't said.
But Deep Fusion is somehow the iPhone stitches together 9 pictures when you hit the shutter button and take your picture. It's taking 9 pictures at once and stitches them together to create the perfect picture, and they're calling that Deep Fusion. Now, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be available next week when the phones are launched, or is it going to be available in a software update down the road. But that Deep Fusion, Rene, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be like portrait mode was with the iPhone 7, where it'll be like, we're weird with iOS 13.1. Like normally I would just guess iOS 13.1, but that's coming real fast for other reasons. So I'm guessing like it'll come like in a month or two. But yeah, it takes like what is it? 5? I think it's 5 or 6 advanced photos. Then it takes two in a long exposure, like two in between photos, and then a long exposure when you hit the button. And then because the GPU, CPU, and neural engine all have machine learning built in, it starts to like plow through that image pixel by pixel, tries to figure out what it is, and then individually enhances it. Like if it's, and they had some pictures in the demo area more than they showed on stage, like at skater parks with like concrete textures, and it tries to figure out, oh, this is your sweater, this is your face, this is your skin. Because a lot of computational photography, it'll just like sort of like, there was that old joke, it's like Snoke looks like Hugh Hefner fell through an elevator, and then the plastic surgeons just did their best. You know, they did their best to put them back together. And that's what it feels like with some of these computational photography modes. It's like, I know it's supposed to be skin, but they kind of just did their best. Where what they're trying to do with deep fusion is really make skin look like skin, wood look like wood, fabric look like fabric, rope look like rope, on a pixel by pixel. And like they zoomed in for us, and you see like there's an eyelash on dude's sweater, and you can see like this perfectly formed eyelash on top of this crazy yarn that the guy was wearing on his sweater.
Right. Yeah, that deep fusion looked really, really good. Now we got rumors of a upgraded Face ID which could work at multiple angles. Did you get a chance to experience that at all?
I didn't. Well, it's not that I didn't. It's that I haven't had time to play with it and compare it. So like the camera is wider angle on the Face ID system now. Like Face ID uses like the RGB camera, the infrared, the dot projector, all those things together. And this camera is just capable of capturing things from a wider range. But iOS 13 by itself is going to make Face ID a ton better. So I'm not exactly clear how much everyone is going to get better just because of iOS 13, and how much that wide angle, and maybe you'll get both on these ones. And like they were saying earlier, that it's just like it'll start opening faster and it'll open from a wider variety of angles.
I think a lot of people were hoping that you can have your iPhone flat down on the table and be able to just have it open or unlock from that angle on the table. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, we didn't try that, but I would love that. Usually, it's like it's not set to Face ID because then no one picking it up. But like I just seen would pick it up off the table, try to film with it, and it'd be locked and go and turn off. So you don't usually have the Face ID enabled on the
right. But man, okay. So besides the deep fusion stuff, Rene, Filmic Pro got on stage and did one of the best product demos I've ever seen at a keynote. These dudes found a way to use every camera on the iPhone to do video simultaneously, Rene. At the same damn time, Rene. Four lenses working in concert at the same time, Rene. Tell me about that, man. Tell me what your thoughts are about that.
That was nuts. And we got to try that. That was actually up and running in the demo area. So, and it's nice because like you could just take one iPhone and like, okay, here's shot one, here's shot two, here's shot three, flip it around, here's shot four. But this, like you said, it's doing the same. So you're sitting in one place and you're capturing all of those angles plus your reaction. Like make some YouTube reaction videos already with you going, as this is all filming, and the amount of data they're processing. And again, I said this before, but they made a custom storage controller so they never miss a frame, never miss, like that stuff writes to that disk fast. And they're able to do 4 simultaneous streams of 4K, which is silly. Like,
bananas.
Yeah, bananas. I don't think a lot of Intel laptops can do that.
No. So some people were wondering if this was just an iPhone 11 Pro exclusive, or would it come as a software update to other iPhones? But I don't think it's coming. I think that's hardware related. So I think that's going to be a iPhone 11 Pro specific functionality with Filmic Pro.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that A13 is just like next level in what it can do with these images, and that you see that in like the deep fusion, and you see that in the night mode. It's doing like so much work in the background.
Woo! On top of improved battery life, Rene, we get 4 more hours on the iPhone 11 Pro and 5 more hours on the Pro Max. I'm like, I almost want to do a standing ovation for my house, Rene. It was so amazing.
Yeah, that. I was not expecting. I was expecting the usual and an hour more battery.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Like an hour. Yeah, and they're like 4. I don't know. Did they say 4? I asked the person next to me. Did they say 4? And then 4. 5. And it's just it's nuts. And there, some people were giving them a hard time saying, "Can you just give us numbers?" And they're like, "Well, think about it this way. Whatever you normally do on your iPhone, like if your iPhone normally lasts you 7 hours, it'll last 11. If it normally lasts you 8 hours, it'll last 12. It's like it's based on your workload." And I don't think that's exactly true, because I know like if you're out there playing like a GPS video game like Harry Potter or something, it's going to drain way faster than if you're just doing normal stuff. And if you're doing super light activity like web browsing, maybe it'll last you 2 days. I don't know. Right. I want to test that. But like that's still a phenomenal increase.
I am like, I brought the Apple Smart battery came from my iPhone 10s Max because I didn't think the battery life was all that. So if the batteries are as advertised with these new iPhones, then I will not need a smart battery case this time around. I will be good.
Or you'll get one and just last a week or something.
Exactly. Or it'll last through the next zombie apocalypse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So Filmic Pro, four video streams at once on these new iPhones, which is bananas. Now, currently, I don't have the Filmic Pro app. I haven't brought it. I don't have it on any of my phones or anything like that. But if that feature works like that, I will pay the $15 alone for that feature alone. I want that. I need that, Rene. I need that immediately.
Yeah, we bought it. I forget. We bought it a couple of years ago because we were doing Serenity Caldwell back when she was still working with me. She's an actual like film student, like went to film school, worked on Hollywood movie type of things, and she was doing like rack focus with it. And I was like, you're better with an iPhone and editing on an iPad than I am in Final Cut Pro with like a big camera. It's just amazing.
So, Rene, I am of the thought process that these iPhones will sell more than last year's iPhones because they actually look different with the new camera modules. How do you feel about how these iPhones will sell this year?
It's so hard to predict these days because Apple at the other side of this is making iPhones last longer, like everything from iOS 12 to the materials they're using, the way they're building out the stuff, the way they're supporting them. They're effectively making it easier to keep your iPhone for longer, which makes Wall Street all shades of crazy. You gotta throw like a bunch of services revenue at them to confuse them in the meantime.
Right.
So I don't know if people are going to actually, and they just got a bunch of fresh batteries last year. So I don't know if they're going to keep their phones longer and we'll see something very similar to last year, or if people are finally, because I was asking around, like a lot of people like in the iMore forums, and I didn't realize it, they just sell their iPhone every year and buy the new one, and it costs them like $200 or $300 because they're like eBay masters by now. Like they got it down to a science. 2 weeks beforehand, they sell the phone for like ridiculous amounts of money because they hold their value really well. Spend 2 weeks with like an old iPhone SE just to get by, and then when they load up the new phone, and it only cost them a couple $100. And that seems like more people are doing that, and trade-ins and installments and annual upgrade programs. So my guess is it's going to be relatively flat still because those two things will cancel out. But I'm real curious because like all of our friends on Twitter are like, no, just skip this year. Don't need it. Oh, iPhone 11 is fine. Nobody needs the iPhone, Pro. And then as soon as orders open, everyone's like, I bought the iPhone 11 Pro. I bought the iPhone 11 Pro. It's like, yeah, I know, you nerds.
Now, full disclosure, I was one of those people who made a video telling you guys that you can skip it. And I still don't think it's that much of an upgrade from the 10S, but I'm sorry, the camera got me, man. They got me with the camera, man. I had to have it.
Take it away. I know.
The cameras are just, they look too good. They're too enticing. I had to do it, man.
Yeah. No, it's always, we haven't even seen the tags yet. I mean, all that stuff, that U1 chip is built in. And they don't have all they told us when we're there is like, oh, if Viper and a couple other people are there, you can hold it at Viper and it'll know to airdrop to him. And I'm like, okay, we all know there's got to be something more coming, right? So I'm waiting to see if that plus tags is like the ultimate, I never forget my keys or wallet again system I've been dreaming of.
Speaking of tags and things like that, I was a little disappointed, Rene, because I was really expecting a one more thing, and we just didn't get it. When Tim Cook was like, when he started to exit the stage, he was like, thanks for coming. I was like, come on, Timmy, don't do this to us. Come back, Timmy, come back. And then it started to fade to black. I'm like, no, Timmy, come back. And he just left, like, damn it.
And it ended early. Like, and there's been a couple of years, like there was a WWDC where they were supposed to announce the Apple TV and it just wasn't ready. So that got pushed to September. And there was a WWDC where they were supposed to announce the MacBook Pro and that wasn't ready, or it was in a different event and that got pushed. And I think this year, like last year, they did the iOS 12 things where a bunch of superstar engineers stopped making features and started working on performance. And I think they were hoping to catch up this year, and that didn't work out. Like they probably should have said, okay, we're not going to try to catch up. We're just going to hold steady. And we're going to do, I'm a big fan of this idea where iOS 13 wouldn't be like coming September. It'd be iOS 13 or all of these features that are coming in the next year. And we're going to ship them throughout the course of that year as they're ready. And I think that just takes so much stress out of the process. But if you look at like iOS 13, it's coming in really hot. And it's not hard to imagine that there's a bunch of stuff that if everything had been finished on time, they could have announced. And it's just like, because like all the iOSs are not coming at the same time. iPadOS is coming later, and then macOS is coming later. And it's just like, I'm sure there's some things in there that they really needed in order to ship other things, and they just were not ready. So we'll get them like in October or something.
Yeah, I've seen some of our developer buddies on Twitter complain about things that are missing that are not functioning properly in these new Apple OSs this year. And I'm just like, wow, that's I've never heard of it before. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's like iOS 11 or iOS 10 again.
So just to wrap up the iPhone talk, I'm looking more forward to the camera for now. I'm guessing that's what you're looking more forward to, right? I'm guessing the camera.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. I'm walking around taking pictures every second, man. I'm taking pictures of everything and everybody, posting them on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I'll be
I'm
all
gonna
over
be
the
a
place, man.
tourist in my own town. I'll be like in every bar.
Right.
Like,
Now, Rene, I got a complaint though. I have a complaint. Not about the iPhone, but I have a complaint about Apple changing the pre-order time, Rene.
yes.
Why? Damn it, why?
I'm not clear on that either. I think internally the logic was we shouldn't force our customers to wake up at midnight to do this or 3 a.m. Eastern to do this. But then 8 o'clock is like 5 a.m. Pacific time, and it's like 7. Like there's no way to make people happy unless you do it like noon o'clock or something. And then people in Ireland will be like all pissed off. I don't know.
It irks me because staying up later for us here in the Americas, North America, that was like, it seemed like an event, man. People were like, it's not the hardcore people anyway were excited to stay up late. I enjoy doing it, but now you got to get up early, and I just feel like they're slowly taking all the iPhone nostalgia away. I used to get excited, Rene, by waiting in line for iPhone, but with the advent of online pre-ordering, the lines died. The one last piece of iPhone nostalgia we had was staying up late to pre-order the iPhone, and now that's gone because they changed it back to, they pushed it back to into the actual Friday and 5 a.m. Pacific. So now that's gone. Like, can we please have some sort of iPhone nostalgia? Because you're killing it, man. Y'all killing it.
Yeah, that all that totally valid. It's like the lines. People used to love the lines because they're like community. Only the hardcore people would stay up overnight. But then Apple's like, oh, it's mean to make people stand in line. It was better if we just do pre-orders. And then I missed the line. It's like all this stuff is balancing acts. But I'm with you. I like the sort of event aspect of it.
Yeah, I do too, man. So I'm still had a good time this morning, Rene. Because like I said, I got up at 6 a.m. I did a pre-order live stream, and it's funny on YouTube. I started the pre-order live stream at 6 a.m. I think last year when it was still at when the pre-order time was still at their normal 2 a.m. Eastern or 2 a.m. Central time. I started the pre-order live stream at 10 o'clock last year. Oh no, I think I started at 11 o'clock last year. But it's interesting, Rene. When we're doing a pre-order, or when I'm doing a pre-order live stream on YouTube, and it gets closer and closer to pre-order time, I get people from all over, like, start all of a sudden flood the stream. It's so crazy the way it works, because I guess when the time gets closer and to the pre-order going live, more people are online and they're ready to go, and I just happen to be streaming, or anybody else that might be happening to streaming, and you have like iPhone pre-order in your stream title, they just come, man. They just come.
Yeah, like we used to do pajama parties in the iMore forums back in the day, and they would be jam-packed.
Yeah. Like
everyone be all night, everyone be typing in there, what are you going to get? Well, I'm getting this, asking questions and answering it. Oh my God, it's live. It's not live for me. Oh, Casey List got his phone. How come he got it before me? It was hilarious.
Oh, we got our man Zach that he had some issues ordering his iPhone today, but he said he got it straightened out with Apple. Yeah, now, see, here's the thing. I made a pre-order video, Rene, giving people the best practices for pre-ordering. And my number one tip, Rene, for pre-ordering any year, do dry runs.
Yes.
I did a dry run yesterday, Rene, and I found out I had some issues, and luckily I got them alleviated. But if I would have had those issues this morning, I would have been so pissed off.
Yes. You always buy something small, inexpensive, and dumb like a few days beforehand.
No, you don't even have to buy nothing. All you have to do is go pretend like you're buying something. Go through the checkout line and make sure you had all your information. Make sure everything is going as you think it will go, and just pretend like you're buying it. But then, like when you get to the checkout and everything goes smoothly, then just empty the cart and just go about your business. So that's what I do.
I'm paranoid. I order a dongle every time just to make sure the Apple Pay is correct, the shipping address is correct, like all that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I said in my video. Make sure your payment information is correct. Make sure you have all your account and login password information. Make sure you got everything prepared, because there are only seconds, minutes to spare between you getting an iPhone on launch day and you waiting a week or a month. So you got to be on your game when these pre-orders go live, man.
Yeah, it's something. And I always have the app in one hand and the web browser with the other hand. And I keep refreshing both over and over again because I know one's going to be faster than the other. And this time the app came up way before the website.
That's funny, because I had the Verizon, because I had to go through Verizon to do my iPhone pre-order. I had the Verizon app on my phone up, and then I had the Verizon website on the computer up. And I think the computer ended up being the faster process. So I don't know. I think the phone ended up working, the app was working, but the computer was freezing, whatever. So I ended up doing it through my phone. So I'm glad I had two options on deck, because like I said, we ain't got time to wait for that. You know how this thing goes, man. You got to be in and out of it, otherwise.
No, absolutely. And it's For me, it was like I saw people on Twitter, like some people were like, "Oh, the store's still not up. Oh, they're late. The store's still not up." Then again, like I see Casey Lisco, I got my phone already. I'm like, "What's happening?" And it's the CDN, and I know intellectually it's the CDN, and things are propagating, and different nodes will come up different times. But when you see like somebody still hasn't got it, you're waiting, someone else has got it. You're just like, "Why? Why is this happening?" But then it came up for me, and literally, like it was like 3 clicks, and I was done. It's like, yeah, the iPhone 11, iPhone 11 Pro, Apple Pay, done, out.
Boom. So, Rene, which iPhone did you get? What did you pre-order?
I got the mint green iPhone 11 128 and the midnight green iPhone 11 Pro 256.
So you are all green in. Okay.
Yeah, it's easy being green. Kermit was wrong. I didn't know.
I
It's a new
got
color. I always get the new color.
nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. I got the iPhone Pro Max, 256 gigabyte space gray.
Nice.
I was thinking about getting the gold, but then it just looked kind of same as from last year. So I'm like, I'm gonna stick with space gray. Like I said, I want a black iPhone, Rene, but we just can't get it done. We can't get it done.
Jet black. People are like, "Oh, it's got micro abrasions." I don't care. Darth Vader had micro abrasions. It's fine.
Oh! I'm glad you brought that up. Let's talk about that, Rene. So we know that the iPhone 11 Pro Max or Pro model come with that matte glass finish. Now the Pixel 3 had the same finish, and it has some minor scratch issues. How do you think these iPhones will hold up with the scratching with that finish?
That's a good question. We should have had some surreptitious people try to scratch them at the hands-on, like just by accident. Like, whoops. Yeah, but they looked fine there. But those are probably babied. So we'll have to. I know someone will just like scratch it the first day, and it'll be a front page of the wall. Apple phone scratches, front page of the Wall Street Journal. Glass still scratches. News at 11. So we'll see.
Actually, Rene, do you remember? I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago when the iPhone pre-orders went live, and somebody in Australia, I think Australia is usually the first one to pre-order. Not the pre-orders, the iPhone release day. Australia is usually the first iPhone Apple store that's open, so the Australians get their first. So the guy who got the very first iPhone that year dropped it when do you remember that, Rene?
I remember Ryan Block when back in the Engadget days would always fly to Australia to get because he didn't get review units, so to get his hands-on done like immediately. And I think iFixit was doing that too to get their teardowns done immediately. Yeah,
but somebody was the first one in line to get an iPhone, and then he got it and he dropped it. Like, oh my God.
I did that one year. I forget what it was. It might have been like the 5S or something. I'm standing there at the Apple store and like I'm talking to the guy and like, "Do you want us to do the transfer for you?" I'm like, "No, I can do it." And then like the phone just drops and it lands on like the floor of the Apple store. And the guy's like, "I'm standing right here, but can you take better care of your stuff, please?"
So Rene, yeah, you got to be careful with these iPhones, no doubt.
I know.
So Rene, what is the longest you ever waited in line for an iPhone?
Oh, I used to do overnight all the time because like I didn't get invited to Apple events till really recently, like a couple of years ago. And so all I could do was like show up, try to be first in line because otherwise you never knew how many that they would get, especially in Canada.
Right.
And like if you wanted to get the one that you wanted, you had to like be there. So I was never first in line because some crazy person always came like a day or 2 days beforehand.
Yeah.
But I would go there like 9 p.m. and then wait overnight for it to open.
Actually, let's be serious, Rene. There is somebody right now in the world standing online for the iPhone 11. Somewhere. They're standing online right now.
That's true.
And we have
That's true.
We have a whole 8 or 7 days left, but somebody's waiting online right now.
Yeah, I'm well, remember like the early days, it would be like people paying other people to stand in line for them?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I think Casey Neistat did a video about the dark side of iPhone waiting lines a few years ago.
Well, that's before the Chinese distribution, when there were people who were just like, and that still happens in countries that don't have the same launch day. There'll be a bunch of people because you can go home and sell them for like big money, right?
Oh yeah. eBay is a thing. eBay is definitely a thing.
Yeah. Well, you don't even like you come, you buy 3-4 iPhones, you go back to whatever is a second stage launch country because like the US, Australia, Germany, there's some countries that get it right away, and Apple's been better about making more and more countries get it. But China used to not get it right away, so you could really take 10 of them back and like, hey, $3,000 each, who wants them? And now they're launch day, so that doesn't happen anymore.
Right. So iPhone 11, iPhone 11 Pro, Pro Max. They go on sale officially next week, Friday, September 20th. If you guys haven't pre-ordered, pre-orders are open. You'll have to wait a little bit. But what I forgot to mention in my video, Rene, is that there's a trick to getting the iPhone on launch date, even if the shipping date flip. And that trick is to do in-store pickup at Apple. So if you guys want to go pre-order, if you guys haven't pre-ordered an iPhone yet and you still want to, and you want to get it on launch day, even if the shipping dates have flipped, if you go and check out, if you choose in-store pickup, you might be able to get the phone still on launch day. I remember I did that with the iPhone 6, which was one of the hardest times ever to get an iPhone on launch day. I was already I somehow missed the original window, and I pre-ordered and I chose in-store pickup for the iPhone 6 or 6X, one of those. And it was funny when I got there, Rene, on that morning. There was a line around the block, but I just walked right past all those people and went to the pre-order line, which was a much shorter. Got in and out in half an hour. And I walked out, and the line was still a mile long. And I was walking past him like, "Yeah, baby."
And you were smoking the iPhone box like a cigar.
Yeah, right. I was like, "Yep." I was like, "Bye." But yeah, in-store pickup is a thing. If you guys, that's a trick. You can get it on launch day if you do in-store pickup. So Rene, I saw like a very, I won't say disturbing, but I saw something on Twitter the other day. We both saw it, which is just. I don't like it. I don't think you liked it. It's not really that serious, but it's just as being an iPhone fanatic, Rene, I don't think me and you like took too kindly to it. But apparently some reporter, I forget what tech pub he's from, but some reporter stated that he believed that Apple keynote should end. Are you believing that, Rene?
He was I'm blanking on his name right now, but he's one of the opinion writers for the New York Times.
Right.
And I think that often they just do those things to get attention, and it works. Like, they write it to get negative attention. We give them negative attention. They're like, business model successful. What am I going to come up with next? There's a series of, I don't want to call them dumb, but there's like a series of things that are just, they don't hold up to basic, like the logic you learn in school. It's like deductive reasoning, like all these sorts of things. A plus B does not equal a pickle sandwich. And yet these articles, they don't. And I used to wonder, like, do they fact check this stuff? Like, no, because that would not let them write the article.
Right.
And they just get so many views. And the whole thing is like, there's much more serious things happening in the world, and it's silly for Apple. Then Disney can cancel their movies. It's silly for us to go see the Avengers based on what's happening in the world. And there's all these things, but some people just want 2 hours of tech escapism. It's like, I'm going to watch the next Google keynote, whatever, and it's just going to be, I can tune out for 2 hours and just be like a tech enthusiast, and I think that's great. So yeah, I think the New York Times needs way better opinion columnists.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Oh man, I agree, Rene. That was an absolutely ridiculous headline, article, whatever. What do you mean iPhone keynote shit? No. Listen, man. This is my favorite tech week of the year. Every single year, the iPhone keynote is the single biggest tech event I look forward to every year. There's no way in a blue monkey's nipple it should end. No. It's dead. It's bad enough they changed the pre-order time, Rene. It's bad enough there's no more iPhone Live. They're trying to take everything from us, Rene. I am tired of it. Leave the damn keynote alone. We want the keynote. We need the keynote. Stop playing.
Yeah, and like there's legit criticism. Like you could say, like, this keynote wasn't good. Like maybe don't let Jimmy Iovine, up on stage without any rehearsal. Like that's all great. Like you can say all that, but like just say make them better. Don't say end them. I don't think there's any justification. We'd miss them if they were gone.
Yeah, that's not cool. All right, so Rene,
press release. Oh, it's new iPhone day. Here's a press release.
Yeah, I don't leave the keynote alone. Damn it, leave the keynote alone. So I know
away from the keynote. Put the money back in the box.
No doubt. So I know Rene has to get going here in a minute, and I'm ready to rock out because I've been live streaming like practically forever.
Every day.
Seriously, this is my third live stream in the past 20 hours. It's crazy. But we're going to get you out of here on this, Rene. Apple is giving away a free year of Apple TV Plus with a new Apple device purchase this year. Now, we were having some discussion in the live stream yesterday that this is actually a brilliant move because it gives them an automatic install base for Apple TV Plus, which actually helped them trump Disney in year one. So, Rene, what are your thoughts on Apple giving away Apple TV Plus free for a year?
Yeah, so I think it's really smart. Like you and I talked about this in a stream, a few months ago. Like, how does Apple compete? Because Netflix and Disney, they have original programming, and Disney's not launching with much. Like, you're going to get The Mandalorian and maybe one or two other shows. All the rest of the stuff is going to take like 2 or 3 years to come out. But they have so much catalog content, like The Simpsons and all the Muppet stuff and all the old Star Wars and Avengers movies, that you can watch The Mandalorian and then go, okay, I'm still bored. Oh, okay, I'll watch the Avengers again. And on Netflix, like, I'll watch that new Stranger Things. Oh, I'm done. Oh, what's happening on Friends or whatever. But on Apple, it's like, oh, I finished watching Jennifer Aniston. Nothing. There's nothing else here. And then you're like, and I paid how much for this? And that's a huge problem. But I think $4, like, as a base price, and they were smart. They're like, it's as much as a rental. And people are like, oh yeah, I could rent one movie, or I could get like a month of Jennifer Aniston, whatever, or Steve Carell, depending on what your favorite celebrity is. But free for a year. Like if you buy $99 Apple TV, you get a year. You don't have to buy an iPhone. You can just buy you can buy an Apple TV every year if you want to just keep it going. It's fine. It gives them that install base, yeah, but it also gives them a year to start putting out content.
Yeah.
So whenever they end this, by the time your renewal comes up, it's not like, oh, there's 3 shows. Should I pay it? It's like, oh, it's only $5 and they've got like 20 shows now, So, or if you're like, I haven't tried it yet, I want to try it now. Oh, look, there's like 20 shows for me to watch. So I think it was a real smart, like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu style smart move for them.
Yeah. Not only that, Rene, but at the end of the year, some people will forget it, or some people won't know how to cancel it and won't want to be bothered with trying to cancel it, things like that. Or some people, like you said, by that time, they'll have so much content in the catalog that some people will be like, yo, I like this. Let me keep it. So by giving it to us free for a year, brilliant move by Apple, because Disney Plus will come with the hammer of Thanos, man. It was getting nasty out there for a minute. Whew. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
It would get nasty.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt. But Rene Ritchie, always a pleasure as usual, man. Let people know where they can find you, man. Let people know
you can find me youtube.com/Vector. It's got links to everything else right there.
Vector, people, just search Vector. You'll find Rene. He's everywhere. The greatest Apple tech journalist alive. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. This is the man. I appreciate you joining me tonight, Rene. For those of y'all watching the live stream, thank you very much. I told y'all it was going to be short tonight. I mean, y'all should be tired of me live streaming by now anyway. I mean, God, good Lord, I've been live streaming like, what? I live streamed this morning, I live streamed last night, and I'm live streaming here now. So y'all should be tired of me live streaming. But I got to go. It's been real, y'all. I hope you all got the iPhones that you wanted. And if you didn't, I mean, you'll get them. I mean, I don't think they're going to sell out like that. They're going to sell, but not like the year past. So you all be fine with that. But until the next time, people, this your boy Viper, the man about tech. You know where to find me. So come back for more.
That was awesome, man. I really appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Man, I know what kind of